Morning friends, welcome back to our class CPM and PEP diagrams. Right, in this session we are entering into problems. Right, so in the previous class we discussed about project management process, establishment of project infrastructure, project definition, project plan. So project implementation and control, this is purely based upon the project plan, and finally after implementation and controlling, then we need to close the project, right? So already we discussed the components of CPM PET, right? So here activity based network diagrams, event based diagrams. Activity based diagrams is called as CPM, event based diagram is called as here PET. And PET is used for very large projects, and CPM is used for small or complex projects. And CPM is repetitive contracts. PET is used for non-repetitive actions, non-repetitive contracts. So that is the difference between CPM and PET. So suppose take the example of activity. So activity is the indication of arrow key. So this arrow key is called as activity. So event means this arrow key is beginning and ending. Beginning and ending occurs. So an event, this circle form is called as event, or this circle form is called as a node. So node or event, this circle, right? This circle is at the beginning and end of the activity. So this activity A, so this beginning activity and the ending activity. So these two are called as here beginning event, ending event, right? So suppose in this example, this ith event is called as here tile event. So beginning event is called as here tile event, and end event is called as here head event. So here jth event is head event. So beginning event is called as tile event, and end event is called as here head event, right? Next, AOA. Already we discussed in this previous class. AOA means name of activity on arc. So this arc or arrow, this name indicate for this activity is called as here AOA, activity on arc. And the next activity on node means this activity name indicate in its node, that is called as your activity on node. So this difference between these two are the activity name indicates for in this arrow, but in the next diagram activity name indicates its node. That is the difference between these two, right? So already we discussed the merge events and burst events. So A, B, C, these three activities are, for example, here this D activity. So this merge event. Burst means suppose this node is A, B, C, D. These are the B, C, D activities are three activities. These three starts from this A. So this type of diagram is called as burst event, right? Next comes to here preceding and succeeding activities. Suppose take the example of J. This J preceding activity is here I, and this next activity is called as L. So here J preceding activity I, this node is called as here preceding activity. After completion of this thing, then L will appear. This L activity, this node is called as here succeeding activity, right? So these are the rules and dummy activity. Now coming to the problems. Suppose this is the example. Already I told you in the previous class also. These are the activities for doing our contract. So these are the preceding activities or dependencies of activities, right? First of all, this we should complete, then only this activity will perform, right? So this is expected time for each and every activity. Suppose activity A having 5 hours, activity B having 6 hours, C activity having 4 hours, D activity having 2 hours. So these are the timings for each and every activities. So these activities are completion timings. These are right. Suppose here a hyphen we have. So this hyphen means this activity having no preceding activity, no dependencies of activity. That means A is the self starter. B having no preceding activity hyphen. So that means B also the starter point, the starting point. So self-starter. A and B are the self-starters. But here C having the preceding activity. So this means if the A activity is performed, then only C will perform. C will perform. A activity is completed, then only C activity will perform. That is the meaning of preceding activity. So if we need to draw C activity in the network diagram, we need to draw C activity in this network diagram. Just we should assure preceding activity completed, then only the C activity will perform, right? So suppose take the example of this D activity. So this D activity having these two preceding activities. So this means A activity and B activity completed, then only the D activity will perform. ఈ రెండు అయితేనే డి యాక్టివిటీ చేయాలి. ఏ యాక్టివిటీ కంప్లీట్ అయితేనే సి యాక్టివిటీ పర్ఫామ్ చేయాలి. That is the meaning of preceding activities, right? And it is also known as dependencies of activities, right? So now is it network diagram? We want to draw network diagram based upon this activity. So A and B having no preceding activities. That means A and B are the preceding activities. Sorry, self-starters. That's why A and B having no preceding activities. So self-starters. So we will draw like this. So this starting point. So starts to A and B. These two are starting. So you don't start chasm. Next, we need to draw C activity. So C activity, we have the preceding activity A. So here A completed, then only the C will appear. The C will perform. So C ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చిందంటే A complete అయితే వచ్చింది. So A completed, then C will appear. So A completed here, then the C activity will draw and will perform. Right? Coming to the next, we need to draw D activity. So D activity we have A and B. A and B నుంచి మనకి D అనేది వచ్చింది. So A and B completed, then we will draw the D activity. So A completed here and B completed here. Then from A and B we will get the D activity. So A completed here and B completed. Then from these two we will draw D activity. సో ఈ రెండు కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయినప్పుడు ఈ రెండింటి నుంచి మనకి డి అనేది వచ్చింది. సో we completed the network diagram. So but here C and D are the independent activities. So for preparation of logic diagram, we need to close these two with a home point, finishing point. సో ఈ రెండు కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయినాయి, కానీ మొత్తం మనం క్లోజ్ చేయాలి డయాగ్రామ్ ని. For logic diagram we need to close. For this purpose just we need to close these two, connecting these two with the finishing activity, finish. So every network diagram having starting point and finishing point, and it's look like a circle form, right? But these two rules of network diagram already we mentioned in this rules in constructing a network. Already I told you. So for this purpose, we should have starting point and we should have finishing point. And this total network diagram just look like a convex model or a circle form, right? For this purpose, we need to have C and D activities closing to this point for a preparation of a logic diagram, logic network diagram, right? So this is a simple project network diagram, right? So now coming to another problem, simple example. Suppose take the example of this thing. This is a project or a contract for house construction project, right? So based upon this problem, we need to create this type of network diagram. So these are the nodes and these are the activities, right? This network diagram is based upon this problem, right? So here, first of all, look at these activities. These are the preceding activities and these are the times. But these two are the explanation of this house construction project. Just as an example to understand how to draw the network diagram, right? So here, look at this thing. Prepare house plan. This is the first activity. The next activity B, construct the house. C activity, fix the doors and windows. So D activity of our house construction project, D activity is wiring the house. And E activity, painting the total house. And F activity, polish the doors and windows. These are the few activities and these are the few examples of house construction of a project. To easily understand, easily draw the network diagram. To easily understand, just we can use this type of example, right? This type of activities. So suppose A activity, prepare house plan. So it is no preceder or preceding activity. Suppose B activity, that is construct the house. So for conducting this activity, we should complete A activity, right? House plan complete అయితేనే దాన్ని కన్స్ట్రక్షన్ చేయడం మొదలు పెడతాం. So that's why B activity has this A activity preceding it. So if A activity is completed, then only B activity will appear, will occur, will perform, right? So A activity is completed, then only B activity will perform. That's the example here. If prepare house plan, so house planning is completed, then only we will construct the house based upon the plan, right? So this thing is called as here preceding activity. If we should perform B, then we should assure A is completed. A is completed. A completed, then only B will perform, right? Suppose C activity, preceding activity is here B. So here that means construct the house completed, then we need to fix the doors and windows. So that is the meaning of C preceding. Suppose take the example of D, wiring the house. So this D activity has also the preceding activity D. So here construction of the house, illu basic house construct అయితేనే doors and windows fix అవ్వాలి అంటే C perform అవ్వాలి and wiring the house, electricity wiring perform అవ్వాలి. So ఇది construct అయితేనే ఈ రెండు జరుగుతాయి. That is the meaning of preceding activities, right? And next D activity, painting. So painting activity has the preceding activity of C. So here C activity is here, fix the doors and windows. So construction doors and windows fix అయితే అప్పుడు మనం పెయింటింగ్ వేయాలి హౌస్ కి. డోర్స్ విండోస్ ఫిక్స్ అయిన తర్వాత పెయింటింగ్ వేయాలి. సో సి యాక్టివిటీ is a preceding to E activity. If C completed, this activity completed, then only E activity will perform. Am I right? And finally, F. F activity precedings to D. So D means here wiring the house. So if polish the doors and windows, then D activity will perform. So if wiring of the house completed, then only this F activity will perform, right? This is the meaning of preceding activities. So now we need to draw the network diagram. So based upon these two lines, first column and the fourth column, right? So first of all, I want to draw A. So first, before starting a draw a network of A, just we need to check preceding activity here. A గీయాలి అంటే దాని preceding activity ఏదన్నా ఉందేమో చెక్ చేసుకోవాలి. So లేదు. So that's the meaning of here. A is the self starter point. So this is the self starting point A. So just we have 4 days. So for A activity, we have 4 days. A activity 4 days. And then we completed this. Then we need to draw B activity in the network diagram. So now we want to draw B activity in the network diagram. So now B. So before draw B activity, just check the preceding activity. So B has preceding activity of A. So here A complete అయితేనే B వస్తుంది. So B ki preceding activity A. So here we need to draw B before check preceding activity of A. అంటే ఏంటంటే ఇక్కడ A నుంచి B అనేది వచ్చింది. So A నుంచి so this is the A activity. So A నుంచి B అనేది వచ్చింది. So A to B. So here B activity having 58 days. So for completion of B activity, we have 58 days. So B activity preceding is A. So B activity preceding A activity, right? Now coming to C activity, we want to draw C activity in this network diagram. So C. So before draw the C activity, just check the preceding activity. So C have preceding activity of B. So B నుంచి C అనేది వచ్చింది. So B నుంచి C అనేది వచ్చింది. So here B to C. And next D also came from the B. So this is the P point. So from B we have C and we have D. B నుంచి రెండు వచ్చినాయి. ఇక్కడ C and D. So this is the B point. So B నుంచి C and D are came. So B నుంచి C activity and B నుంచి D activity are came here, right? So C activity have 2 days of time. So here C activity has 2 days and D activity has 2 days. So D activity has 2 days wiring and fix the doors, right? D activity wiring in the house 2 days. So D activity for this purpose we have wiring in the house and for that 2 days. Right, next C and D completed. Next we want to draw E in this network diagram. So E. So here we want to draw E. Before drawing E activity, just we need to check preceding activity. So here E has preceding activity of C. So C already completed here. C completed. So from C we will get E. So E to C activity to E activity, right? And finally, F activity. F activity also comes from D, right? D to, so this is the D point. So D to F activity came. So E and F are the independent activities. But here, prepare a logic diagram. We need to close these two by connecting a 6th point, right? So this is the process of connecting or draw the network diagram, right? So simply let me A అనేది స్టార్టింగ్ పాయింట్ ఇక్కడ నుంచి నెక్స్ట్ B అనేది గీయాలి. B అనేది ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చిందంటే A నుంచి వచ్చింది. సో A అనేది కంప్లీట్ అయితే కానీ B అనేది మనం చేయలేం. సో ఇక్కడ A అనేది కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయింది. సో A నుంచి B అనేది వచ్చింది. సో ఇప్పుడు నేను C గీయాలి. C అనేది ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చిందంటే B కంప్లీట్ అయితే కానీ రాదు. సో ఇక్కడ B అనేది కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయింది డయాగ్రామ్ లో. సో B నుంచి C వచ్చింది. సో C అనేది B నుంచి వచ్చింది. సో B నుంచి C వచ్చింది. సో ఇక్కడ మనం B నుంచి C గీసేసాం. నెక్స్ట్ మనం డి డ్రా చేయాలి. డి అనేది ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చింది అంటే బి కంప్లీట్ అయితే కానీ డి రావాలి. సో ఆల్రెడీ ఇక్కడ బి అనేది కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయింది ఇందాకనే. సో బి నుంచి డి డ్రా చేస్తున్నాం. సో బి నుంచి డి డ్రా చేస్తాం. సో బి నుంచి డి వచ్చింది. నెక్స్ట్ మనం ఈ డ్రా చేయాలి. ఈ అనేది ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చింది అంటే సి నుంచి వచ్చింది. సో ఆల్రెడీ ఇక్కడ మనం సి కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయింది. సో సి నుంచి మనకి ఈ అనే పాయింట్ వచ్చేసింది. సో సి నుంచి మనకి ఈ అనేది వచ్చింది. నెక్స్ట్ లాస్ట్ ఎఫ్ డ్రా చేయాలి. ఎఫ్ అనేది ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చింది అంటే డి నుంచి వచ్చింది. సో ఆల్రెడీ ఇక్కడ నుంచి మనం ఇక్కడ డికి చేసేసాము. సో డి నుంచి మనం ఎఫ్ వచ్చేసాం. డి నుంచి ఎఫ్ డ్రా చేయాలి. రైట్. ఇప్పుడు ఈ అనేది ఎఫ్ అనేది ఇక్కడ కనెక్టింగ్ అయిపోయింది. సో ఇలా యాక్టివిటీస్, ప్రిసీడింగ్ యాక్టివిటీస్ అండ్ దేర్ టైమింగ్స్ based upon 3 columns we can draw this network diagram. So this is the process to draw the network diagram, right? Now coming to the another problem example. So this is the problem to draw this network diagram. So these are the activities of a particular project A, B, C, D, and these are the preceding activities. So A having no activity, so that's why. So this is the self starting point. So A we draw it, and B the preceding activity of A అంటే A B నుంచి వచ్చింది. సో ఇప్పుడు ఇది A అయిపోయింది కదా, A నుంచి B అనేది వచ్చేసింది ఇక్కడికి, ఇది B యాక్టివిటీ. ఇప్పుడు నేను C అనేది గీయాలి. CDE ఈ మూడు కూడా B నుంచి వచ్చాయి. Listen carefully. So from this B point, after completion of this B activity, we have C, D, E. These 3 activities are came from this B activity. So simply, if B activity is completed, then only C, D, E. These 3 activities will perform, right? So that's the meaning is here. So B. So this is the B point. B point. So ఇక్కడ B నుంచి మనకి 3 activities complete అవ్వాలి. So B complete అయిపోయింది ఇక్కడతో. Then C, D, E, these 3 activities will perform. B అయిపోయింది కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ నుంచి C, D, E అని వస్తాయి. సో ఇక్కడ నుంచి C, ఇక్కడ నుంచి D, ఇక్కడ నుంచి E యాక్టివిటీ. సో C, D, E. This C, D, E came from this B activity, right? C activity, the D activity, and the E activity. 7, right? Next, CDE completed. Next, we need to draw F diagram, F activity in this network diagram, right? So ఇప్పుడు F గీయాలి. F అనేది ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చిందంటే C నుంచి వచ్చింది. సో C ఆల్రెడీ కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయిందంటే, సో ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఇక్కడ C అనేది కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయింది. సో C completed. So here F preceding activity of C. So here this is the C activity. So from C we have F activity. So C నుంచి F అనేది వచ్చింది. So C నుంచి F. So this is the F activity. This is F activity. So C నుంచి F అనేది వచ్చింది. Next we need to draw G activity, right? So G కూడా C నుంచి వచ్చింది. So after completion of C, then we will perform the G activity. So look at here. So this is the C activity, then G. So G from C. So G activity came from the C. So here, this is the C activity from G. So look at this thing. This point is here G. So G అనేది కూడా C నుంచి వచ్చింది. So here C నుంచి మనకి F, G అనేవి రెండు వచ్చినాయి. So this is the C activity, F and G. F and G. These 2 activities are came from C activity. So C activity, G and F, these 2 are came from C point, right? Next we need to draw H activity. H came from F and G. ఈ రెండిటి నుంచి H అనేది వచ్చింది. So here F activity and then G activity. ఈ రెండిటి నుంచి F activity and then G activity. From these 2 points we have H activity. So this 8 point H, right? So from F point and G point we have H activity. From these 2 points we have H activity. That's why we use here dummy activity, right? So here H means H came from G. So this point G and F point F and G. From these 2 points, we will get H activity. H activity. So H activity. Next, we draw I activity. So here I activity came from D E H. D E H. So already we completed here this thing D. So this is the D and this thing E activity and D activity. And next H. So here we have this H point H. So D, E, and H. These 3 things we will get I activity. So this is the I activity. I activity. And finally, we need to draw J activity. J came from I activity. So already we completed this I activity. So from J from I. So I నుంచి J అనేది వచ్చింది. So this I నుంచి J 10th activity J activity came here. So these are the activities and these are the preceding activities. So based upon this problem, we can draw the network diagram. This is the another example we have, right? Look at here carefully. Please note down this problem and try yourself and draw the network diagram yourself, right? Please note down this problem. This is a network diagram. So activity A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. These are the preceding activities. If ఇవి కంప్లీట్ అయితే కానీ ఇవి రావన్నమాట. Suppose take the example of 5. So here D, E, H. So D, E, H. These 3 activities completed, then only IV activity will perform. Suppose take the example of H. So here this H having preceding activities of these 2, F and G. So F and G, these 2 activities are completed, then only H activity will perform. Suppose example of E. So here B activity perform, then only E activity will perform. So here B, 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 these 3 activities, C, D, E activities will perform based upon B activity. If B activity is completed, then only C and D and E, these 3 activities will perform. So look at here. From B to C, B to D, B to E, B to C, B to D, B to E, B to C, B to D, B to E. So simply this part is called as here burst event. So this is thing B to C, B to D, B to E, burst event. So B to C, B to D, B to E, burst event, right? And look at here, D, E, H. These 3 activities are completed, then I will appear, then I will perform, right? So here, this the D activity, D, I H D I H D I H. These three, and then we will get I activity. This is merging activity. Look at here. D I H. Then we will get I activity, merge event. So D H I. Then we will get the I event, right? So this is merge event here, and this is burst event here, right? So based upon this problem, we can draw this diagram, right? And next, another we have another problem. So A, B, C, D, E, H. These are the activities, and these are the immediate preceders or dependencies of activities or preceding activities. So just in the exam paper, question like this. So based upon this problem, we can draw this network diagram, right? So A, having no preceding activity. So that's why A is the self-starter. Next, B, we need to draw B activity. So for this purpose, we need to check preceding activity. So in this B activity, we have preceding activity of A. So A నుంచి B అనేది వచ్చింది. So A completed here. So this is the A activity. So A నుంచి అనేది B అనేది వచ్చింది. So A from B. So this is the back activity of B. నెక్స్ట్ సి డ్రా చేయాలి. సి అనేది ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చిందంటే బి నుంచి వచ్చింది. సో నేను ఇప్పుడు సి అనేది డ్రా చేయాలి. సి అనేది బి నుంచి వచ్చింది. సో ఆల్రెడీ ఇక్కడ బి కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయింది. సో బి నుంచి సి అనేది వచ్చేసింది. సో దిస్ యాక్టివిటీ సి, దిస్ నోడ్ సి, రైట్. ఇప్పుడు నేను డి డ్రా చేయాలి. డి అనేది ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చిందంటే ఏ నుంచి వచ్చింది. సో ఏ కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయిందంటే సో ఇక్కడ ఏ కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయింది. సో ఏ నుంచి డి అనేది వచ్చింది. ఏ నుంచి డి వచ్చింది. సో ఇప్పుడు ఏ నుంచి డి అనేది ఇక్కడ డ్రా చేయాలి. డి. నెక్స్ట్ నేను ఈ డ్రా చేయాలి. ఈ అనేది ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చిందంటే డి నుంచి వచ్చింది. సో ఇది డి. డి నుంచి నేను ఈ డ్రా చేస్తున్నాను. ఇట్లా ఇక్కడ ఎఫ్ అని ఉంది. ఎఫ్ డ్రా చేయాలి. ఎఫ్ సి అండ్ ఈ కంప్లీటెడ్, దెన్ ఎఫ్ విల్ అపియర్. సో సి అండ్ ఈ నుంచి ఎఫ్ అనేది వచ్చింది. ఇప్పుడు నేను ఎఫ్ డ్రా చేయాలంటే ఈ రెండింటి నుంచి కనెక్షన్ ఇవ్వాలి దీనికి. సో సి ఈ. సో ఇది సి. ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఈ వచ్చేసేసింది ఈ రెండు. సో ఈ రెండు ఇక్కడ కలిసిపోయినాయి. ఇక్కడ నుంచి నేను ఎఫ్ అనేది డ్రా చేస్తున్నాను. ఎఫ్. నెక్స్ట్ జీ డ్రా చేయాలి. జీ అనేది డి నుంచి వచ్చింది. అట్ ద సేమ్ టైం హెచ్ ఆల్సో కేమ్ ఫ్రమ్ ది డి, రైట్. సో ఇప్పుడు నేను డి డ్రా, జీ అండ్ హెచ్ డ్రా చేయాలంటే డి నుంచి వచ్చినాయి కాబట్టి సో డి నుంచి నేను రెండు వచ్చేస్తాను. సో డి నుంచి హెచ్, డి నుంచి జీ, టూ కనెక్షన్స్. సో burst event here. So G and H came from D. So this is the D point. So D నుంచి H అనేది వచ్చింది, మళ్ళీ D నుంచి G అనేది వచ్చింది. So these two came from D activity. నెక్స్ట్ నేను ఇప్పుడు I డ్రా చేయాలి. కానీ ఇక్కడ మనం చూసుకున్నాం I and J, these two came from the H. So here this is the H point. So H నుంచి ఐ అనేది జే అనేది రెండు వచ్చినాయి. సో హెచ్ పాయింట్ ఇక్కడ ఉంది. హెచ్ నుంచి ఐ అనేది అండ్ జే అనేది రెండు వచ్చేసేసినాయి ఒకేసారి. బర్స్ట్ ఈవెంట్ మళ్ళీ వచ్చింది. సో దిస్ ద ఐ అండ్ దిస్ ద జే. నెక్స్ట్ ఇప్పుడు నేను కే డ్రా చేయాలి. కే అనేది ఎఫ్ అండ్ హెచ్ ఈ రెండు కంప్లీట్ అయితే కానీ కే రాదు. సో ఇప్పుడు ఎఫ్ అండ్ హెచ్. సో హియర్ వీ హ్యావ్ ఎఫ్ పాయింట్ ఇక్కడ అండ్ సెకండ్ వన్ ఈస్ హెచ్. H. సో ఎఫ్ అండ్ హెచ్ నుంచి నాకు కే అనేది వచ్చేసింది. హెచ్ అండ్ ఎఫ్, దీస్ టూ కాంబినేషన్, దెన్ వి విల్ గెట్ కే పాయింట్. అండ్ నెక్స్ట్ ఫైనల్లీ ఎల్ అనేది జి జే నుంచి వచ్చినాయి. సో హియర్ జి పాయింట్, నెక్స్ట్ జే పాయింట్, హియర్ జే పాయింట్, దిస్ ఇస్ జే అండ్ దిస్ ఇస్ జి. ఈ రెండింటి నుంచి నాకు ఎల్ అనేది వచ్చేసింది. సో దిస్ ద ఎండింగ్ పాయింట్. సో దిస్ ద స్టార్టింగ్ పాయింట్ అండ్ ఎండింగ్ పాయింట్. అండ్ దిస్ జస్ట్ లుక్ లైక్ కాన్వెక్స్ మోడల్, రైట్. ఇలా ప్రాబ్లమ్ ఇస్తే మనం ఇలా నెట్వర్క్ డయాగ్రామ్ డ్రా చేయాలి, రైట్. This is another sample problem. Just write it, and just practice in your home, right? Just draw this network diagram and this problem, right? In the next class, we will end up this unit, right? Monday onwards, we will enter the new sessions. MS Unit 5, right? Just problem 1, problem 2, problem 3, problem 4, and pet problem 1. Right? These are the for practicing purpose. Just write the name. Okay, guys. So today's we discussed about how to draw the network diagram based upon the problems. Right? That is the process. So just the problem we have the activities and preceding activities. So we need to draw the network diagram based upon these activities and preceding activities, right? So before draw the network diagram, just we check preceding activities. If preceding activity is done, then only this activity will perform. That is the meaning of preceding activity, right? So based upon activities and preceding activities, you can draw the network diagram, right? So practice well these problems. Next class, we will have a few examples of network diagrams. After completion of that, 3 or 4 problems we have, and then we will enter the 5th unit of our MS, right? Thanks for listening, guys. Stay home, stay safe. Be careful with Corona. Thanks for listening. Bye, guys.